Hey guys, Matt here, the Broken Supercoach. Just checking in. Teams have dropped. Another Thursday night game. Don't mind it, I guess. Um, Actually, I quite enjoy the Thursday night game. So I'll check in. We'll see what's happening with these teams. Did need some news. I'll be real. Been trying to avoid Supercoach this week because it's just been, it's just been a disaster. Uh, I shouldn't really say that. I'm 800 ranked. I'm alright, but I'm just gonna bleed points for the rest of the year, I think. But we'll see. Well, let's go through the teams. Game tonight. Nothing really in here. Samson Ryan would have been good if he was good at footy. A cheap player in a role that should score, but it didn't look good. I think he got injured and then he had to come back on because they used the sub on someone else. I think they sent him to the Wolves. Really, it was a terrible coaching call to pick him. Obviously, wasn't ready. Nothing really relevant here. Took Miller still playing. All the normal faces still playing. I think they do have a kid that a lot of people are playing at the moment. Jeremy Sharp. I think a lot of people like him. I don't like his price for this time of year. It could be one that you look at. Assuming he plays, I wouldn't be confident with guys like Anderson. He might be. I don't know what the injury is like on that. Greenwood. I wouldn't be very confident in that one, and it's too expensive to bring in this time of year, which is a shame because he looks like he's a good scorer. All right, so first one that was announced tonight, Geelong Essendon. There's not a lot here, is there? They're obviously not tagging with Mark O'Connor, so that's great for your captaincy calls. Not that Mark O'Connor's a good tagger anyway. He's a tagger by name purely. Not sure there's a lot here. Be keeping an eye on Dangerfield. Break even of 100. I probably won't get him this week. Just have no one to go for. These ins are pretty standard. Nothing crazy here. Pretty devastating stuff here with James Madden, but that's always going to be the case. He does seem to be playing for Berry and Birchall. He seems to have those roles, and this is a top side, so they're not going to be looking at giving a kid game. So I'd heard this was going to happen today, and here it is. It's all right. He'll be in and out based on fitness and managing players. And he's good enough to score. I think he'll end up just being handy depth. We probably won't be able to trade him. He's DPP with forward and back, so you can shuffle him back and forth. Maybe even a nice loop option week to week. Crows have some pretty big ins and some pretty big outs. Fogarty, Hamill, and McAdam. These guys probably all needed a rest. I'm really keen to see Pedler debut. I've liked what he's shown in the sample before he was injured and after. I think he's a highly underrated pick. Frampton's done a lot at SNFL level. Don't think he's the standard that is AFL level. But if he comes in and plays Fogarty's role and doesn't play the backup ruck role, I think Frampton's actually going to be quite good. I don't think Frampton is actually a backup ruck. I think he's a forward and a true forward. So it'll be a good chance for him to play the role that Fogarty plays, which is the stay-at-home forward, and we'll see how he goes. Murray. None of these guys are worth getting. I just want to talk about them. Pedler is a high-priced rookie, so he's not even worth getting either. And unlikely he plays. But I'm really excited to see Pedler play. Still says it's at Adelaide Oval. We'll see if I'm allowed to go to it. We'll find out. Nat Fyfe in, huge. They've kept that one rookie going. So if you've been looking at him, Brandon Walker. If you've been looking at him, there he is. I think that's his third game, if I'm right. Pretty standard stuff here. Doherty out. I know a lot of top guys have Doherty. So that'll be very interesting. Unsure on the timeline, but if you were one of the guys that grabbed Doherty, that's unlucky. You're going to have to think about the length of injury that he's on. Zach Williams, look, I'm glad I missed him. I honestly thought about him, but because of the first week suspension, I think that saves a lot of people some pain. Starting him after week 1 suspended would have been extremely risky. And So I think that's saved everyone. He was in my team up until he got suspended during the preseason. So it saved me a whole lot because this guy's been trash. I don't know if he's washed or just doesn't care. Probably both. Interesting game to look at. Nat Fife in's quite big for them. Tabernar out's huge though. But that does mean that those who still have Tracy be pretty happy with the points that he might put out for him. Still no Reeves, so I'm absolutely furious about this. Nothing really to name. Shame about Devin Granger-Barras is already injured, the poor bastard. Dylan Williams out after the one game. Was going to happen. Wasn't that great. It would be pretty low on their depth chart, honestly. They've also got... Where's old mate? Connor Rosie's named as well. I think he's actually really a tempting pick, Connor Rosie. And he's one I'll keep an eye on. If Dangerfield puts out a pretty low score and Rosie goes a high-ish sort of score, I'll definitely keep an eye on him, considering that, you know, Robbie Gray's out for most of the rest of the season, and he's quite cheap. So if you need a cheap forward, he's definitely one to keep an eye on, because Butters at the moment now, he's going to be too expensive by the time he comes back. So Rosie's one to keep your eyes on. Obviously, yeah, nothing too much here. Someone needs to take the place of Impey. It does seem to be Jaff, which is unfortunate because I traded him. But Newcomb's still playing, Bramble's still playing. I might try to fit Bramble in. We'll see what I can do there. This is another one. Briggs just straight dropped. I think that's unfortunate. That, I guess you don't say managed because you bring in Mumford because he's knocking on the door, but geez, that's stiff. This kid's good. And you got to wonder what'll happen here. Will Mumford retire? If Mumford plays on between Flynn, Briggs, and Mumford, they probably need to move. They probably need to move one on. We'll see what happens. Mumford can't go on much longer, surely. But the way he's playing, maybe he can. Probably an obvious choice this week, being it's Max Gawn, and Giants love to bring in blokes who bring in Mumford when they come up against a good ruckman. You know, one of those big name ruckmans. They did it with O'Brien. They did it with I think they did it with Grundy. Did it with Gawn. His job will be purely to beat up Gawn. Don't know if that'll work because Gawn likes to run around the ground a fair bit and doesn't actually do a lot of rucking now. With, you know, he shares a lot of that time with Luke Jackson. So we'll see how this works for them. So unlucky for Briggs. There was another one I wanted to talk about in this list. Yeah, of course, De Boer being out. Got away with a bit trying to tag Walsh the other day. It could have been a couple of weeks ago if it wasn't last week. I don't remember now. The guy's washed. And he wasn't going to go anywhere near Petrarca or Oliver, so good coaching decision there. Rare good coaching decision by Leon Cameron to leave him out because, I mean, he wasn't going to keep up with Oliver, and he wasn't going to keep up with Petrarca, and who else would they tag at that point? They think about Brayshaw, and at that point, you're wasting your time. So, brought in Tom Green, another bull-type player, who probably will run with Oliver, and get absolutely feasted on. So, definitely a thought to run your, what day is this? Was that Saturday? So it's definitely an idea. Yeah, Saturday. Jeez, a lot of games on Saturday. Definitely an idea to run the VC on Oliver. I probably wouldn't run the VC on Gorm. We'll talk about that up here. But with Mumford in, with the job of just beating him up, probably not. So Sunday teams, we don't get a lot here. We're just looking at outs. McCreary, didn't realise that I thought he was out last week. So, strange one. But apparently he's not, so injured again. Okay. Nothing really interesting to name here. Caulfield out injured, McCreary out injured. These ins don't really mean a lot. You'd assume DeGoey comes in for someone. The aim here is just to keep having Murphy play and to keep having Highmore play. So Highmore named on field. We need this. I'd be a little bit more concerned with the structure. Still seems similar, so not too fussed. Highmore should still keep scoring. We'll see how that works, though. I'm not even going to open these up because there's not too much relevance with these guys. I don't think any of these guys are relevant to us at all. None of these outs are relevant to anyone here. Same with this. I don't think there's a lot here to be worried about if you're a super coacher, and maybe with this here. So Eddie Ford, never heard of the bloke. Named in the almost last name, so I doubt he's up for anything. But you want to sit like Hall and Zeeble named on half back still. That's good. Polek will be an interesting one. How many points he takes away from Hall and Zeeble. It'll be very interesting. And I wonder what his price is. Jai Simpkins popped off as well, and I've missed him. But he's popped off too, playing on the ball a lot. So people are grabbing him as one of their options. I think the top guy of the week had him. So that's the teams. Let's jump in. I still don't know what I'm going to do. I was waiting on team names. With not Collier Dawkins, with CCJ playing, I'm probably going to... Should have had this one ready, and I'll zoom in a bit for you guys too. With Madden out and Briggs out, there's probably not much choice now than to run in here. Sadly, I'll have nothing on the bench there. I'll probably trade one of these guys out to our boy Bramble. Move Brockman down. That still doesn't cover me bench-wise, and I'll just cash the money. So I need these 6 to play. And the idea will be Dangerfield next week. And then I don't know who the last one will be. I'll keep an eye on Rosie. If Rosie posts a nice score, I think I will go him. I'm not going to be in a position to grab a lot of money. Now this here, what's this? Has that boy been named on the bench? Oh, you hate to see it. So there's another one to keep an eye on, Murphy, who hasn't made nearly enough money to trade him out. So it is what it is. He's just going to be there. That happens. Oh, and Edwards. Yeah, that's right. West Coast. I didn't want to look at it, but Edwards named on the bench. You'd think you give him one more week because of how well he's done, but names like Jermaine Jones, Foley, Witherden, Zach Langdon, Nathan Vardy, they're all good names who have played this year. I feel like this is probably one of the biggest failed trades in the history of Supercoach. I mean, there's been worse ones, but Reeves would be the one, but jeez, that could be risky as well. Well, hopefully he plays, because his break-even is quite low, and if he has a good game against a team that he should play well against, fingers crossed. That's all we can do. Newcomb will play. We'll just slap the E on him, and we'll use him as a loop. But money-wise, we're going to need to use Madden to Bramble this week, which we'll probably do now. And then we're going to need to use probably Highmore and Callum Coleman-Jones. They're the 3 money guys we'll make. Everyone else stays. Newcomb's going to be handy depth. We'll see what happens here. Hopefully Bianco is handy depth and he plays the DPP role. So we've got the 2 there. And with any luck, we'll use... I don't know how we're going to get some handy depth through the forward line. We may just end up with 2 dead spots on the forward line and just save the 1 trade for injuries. But we'll see. So I'm hoping Highmore maintains that role. And now here's... I guess the last thing will be captain's advice and loop advice. So with Gold Coast and Richmond playing tonight, I've got no one to loop in there. So Coleman-Jones just goes on. But if you've got someone to loop in, I'd be putting Coleman-Jones on the bench, hitting the E with him, seeing what he gets, and using someone to loop him in, a Brockman or Madden if you don't trade him. Nothing I can do on this line. I've got 8 premiums here, so I'm not doing anything with that line. But if you don't have if you have Laird there and you've got someone else here, you can loop in Newcomb with Brockman or Edwards or someone like that, or whoever you've got. So you can loop those guys. Hawthorn playing Saturday, so they're loopable. Collingwood, I think, are Sunday, so you can't really do much with this. What I would probably do, if Murphy isn't named tomorrow, I might flick Highmore to the side, throw the E on him, and I'll see what Bianco, and we'll see what he does. If he's still scoring, because, Highmore is liable for a 20. We've seen it. So I may loop him through Murphy, assuming Murphy isn't playing. There is the risk that he gets named as the sub, so quite dangerous. I may just not get too fancy and just have Highmore on field. I'm happy with how that looks. With everyone playing and the days, the way they're spread up, it's pretty simple stuff. As far as captaincy and vice-captaincy goes, I've gone the V on Parish. Friday night game, no tag. He's been popping off recently. 120 is what you expect from him every time. I'm pretty happy with that. I may change my mind and use Zorko or Lions against the Crows. I also feel pretty good about that, especially if it's Pedler in the middle, especially against the Crows midfield. They do tend to score. Lions probably. Let's have a look what he does against the Crows. Usually has only played them one time and he scored it. Oh, where is it? Here, 100. Yeah, so he doesn't score great against the Crows, and neither does Zorko. But they haven't been that. Oh, I suppose they have. So, I don't know. Risky. I like Parish against Geelong. You can't really look at his previous scores against them because he's on a different level this year. I like his consistency. Oh, there's another one. Has been tagged in the past, I imagine, but with no tagger, you can expect him to go off. Gawn's another thought as well, who absolutely pumps against GWS, and that would have been right, and that would have been Mumford and Jacobs and guys like that. So maybe he's a choice. He's not in that type of form though. You have to remember. And Saints have been decent against ruck because Marshall and Ryder are both good ruckmen. So I probably wouldn't go Grundy. So I think safest call is my boy Parish. Gawn would be another choice. Oliver would be another choice for vice captaincy. All of it is a moot point because it's Bont against the Kangaroos at Marvel. So I've spoken for about 3 minutes on who your vice captain should be. Totally irrelevant because Bont is averaging about 140 at the moment. He's 150 in a 3-round average and 146 in a 5-round average, and he's playing North Melbourne. So, funnily enough, North Melbourne is his lowest score this year, 82. Keep that in mind. So, don't go too crazy. If your vice captain gets 120, 130, take it, absolutely take it. Because, I mean, as mindless as this seems, he's only scored under 100 once this year, and it was against the Kangaroos, and it was when the Kangaroos were bad, and it was at Marvel. But the Kangaroos are pretty good at the moment. They're decent. They're not playing bad. They're not playing bad footy. So either or, don't stress. McRae, you could go as well. Historically, hasn't scored well against the Kangaroos though, and only scored 100 against them earlier this year. So that's what I'll be doing. Parish and Bont, and I will do that trade. Madden for Bramble. Brockman will come in and just have nothing here. So not too fussed about that either. That's the way it goes. Just to make the extra money, that will give me about 200 and... Well, that will give me nearly... I think it's about 300k I'll have, nearly. And then it'll be a case of getting Dangerfield in next week with Callum Coleman-Jones' money. Dangerfield won't go up a huge amount if he does at all. Callum Coleman-Jones will probably go up another 30 to 40. I'll take that money, go to Dangerfield, or Rosie, or Martin, whoever I like the look of it at the time. And then it's going to be a matter of really riding it out for a little while with not a full premium team, just hoping that Highmore, Bianco, Murphy, these guys can give me those scores until later in the year when I can feel comfortable about trading that last trade, turning Highmore, hopefully a side trade, into just a cheap mid, into someone scoring well, someone who has an easy run over the last couple of weeks. So that's the plan. Fingers crossed it works. Thanks for watching. Good luck. Have a good one. Let us know who your captains are. What do you think of the teams? Anyone I missed? Let me know.